Hello, my name is Julian, and I have been in ministry for almost 10 years now. And in those time, I've been in a variety of different positions and different roles. And in my time, there has been some constant things that never have faded away. Things that happen multiple times a day and feels like no matter how many times I address it, it never stops. And of course, I'm talking about conflict. Conflict is a dirty little word that a majority of people hate. There are some people who just thrive on conflict. And honestly, I really do wish I was that kind of person that could thrive on conflict. Today, I want to go over the 5 dysfunctions of a team and how we can turn those dysfunctions into a functioning team. I have personally gone through this process myself, and my first ever position in leading a team after an amazing man who was my mentor had gone on to lead somewhere else after leading for multiple years. God called him to a new position, and then I was next in charge, next to lead. These 5 dysfunctions started with a huge absence of trust in my own team. As a new leader, I thought I had to show that I had it all together and pretended I knew everything no matter the situation. Obviously, I don't. To overcome absence of trust, I learned in my new position to ask for help. I grew relationships with my team, allowing my team to have freedom to even make mistakes, trusting them even through any process that might go wrong. Because there was no trust, however, in my first position as a leader, this led to a fear of conflict, which is our second dysfunction of a team, the fear of conflict. My nursery director would take things a little too far sometimes. She would begin to do things that didn't match the vision and made us look very unorganized. She would add things that were not part of the vision and just looked horrible and didn't look like the rest of everything we had going on. I didn't have good enough relationship with her to even have the courage or trust to confront her, which made others on my team build up resentment towards me. When they saw that I wouldn't confront her or correct her, they would begin to think, why isn't he doing what he's supposed to be doing? He's supposed to be leading us in this, which obviously led to all those feelings of resentment. Now, what I didn't know was that conflict at the time isn't something that I should be praying hopes that gets better, right? I should be in conflict thinking that it is something that needs to be addressed. When it is addressed, it is something that builds a team closer. Conflict isn't a scary word. It's something that needs to happen so we can grow together. My dysfunction led to our third dysfunction, and that was a lack of commitment from the rest of the team. All because they had saw that I wouldn't address major issues or I was too afraid to address conflict. It started to bring a little bit of doubt in themselves, and a lack of commitment began to happen. The way to handle this dysfunction is by being very clear in deadlines of projects, making clear messaging after a big meeting. Hey, this is what we talked about. Here's what we're going to be addressing. Here's how we're going to go after these things. Giving vision. Being clear, especially when someone is going off vision. Unfortunately, because of all my dysfunctions, this led to our 4th dysfunction, and that was avoidance of accountability. When you see that a leader isn't going to do anything to address situations, you kind of get into a mode where you're like, you know what? I don't need to do anything because they're not going to do anything. So why should I even care to say anything? And since we didn't have trust, and because we didn't address any conflicts, and because we lacked clarity and commitment, we avoided correcting each other in any and all situations. So how can I overcome this dysfunction? Simply by clarifying goals and standards publicly with each other, with the whole team, making sure everyone knows what each other is supposed to be getting done and accomplished. When I had performance reviews, I should have been honest and open about what they were doing wrong and celebrating publicly what everyone was doing good. Especially when we accomplished a big projects and things that we did to achieve a final goal all together. As you can tell, these answers are things I learned after the dysfunctions that happened in my team. What really killed my team was when we fell into the 5th dysfunction, and that was inattention to results. My team began to look out for themselves and only worried about their areas, not what we can achieve collectively. Instead of focusing on the issues with each team member, I needed to reward behaviors and actions that contribute to the collective team goals. In order to overcome these 5 dysfunctions in your team, we need to have the basic 5 functions. The good ones, not the dysfunctions, the actual functions. We need to trust one another, building that trust together, engaging in unfiltered conflict around ideas, making sure we're feeling good enough to actually have those conversations, committing to decisions and plans of action, holding one another accountable, and when we know what we're supposed to be getting done. And finally, it's focusing on achieving collective results, not our own results. If you're able to do these things, you'll be able to overcome the 5 dysfunctions and become a functional working team.